gross humans manhandling this animal and disturbing this animal. Rattlesnakes are also pit vipers, so they see heat signature with their pits. So on a hot, sunny day like today, I'm hot, I'm sweaty. It doesn't see a 6-foot human. It sees this heat aura around me. As far as it's concerned, I'm a grizzly bear staring over this animal.
A grizzly, huh, Timmy?
Yeah. Kevin's going to put his right in the sun and get it nice and warm.
So remember, so when they're acting like this is just they're afraid. They don't know what's going on. And they're acting a little bit desperate. If Timmy would quiet that one down. Can you quiet him down? Wait for Timmy to silence it. There we go. Like that, you grab his rattle, and everything calms down. So, but they have no ill will towards you whatsoever. So in the wild, you literally could walk past one, not even know that it's even there, because it's going to sit there very quiet, and it's going to depend on its camouflage, and do nothing. Generally, they're just very, very sweet. They do not want to bite you. So remember, they are venomous to kill the food. So to catch a mouse, they use their venom, but to actually try to scare us, they buzz and rattle and say, please don't step on us because we're all spine and we're incredibly fragile. So people don't realize that snakes are very fragile. So if I were to break his back, and it wouldn't take much, hitting him or stepping on him, once that animal's back is broken, its life is essentially over. It will be incapable of surviving to find food or whatever. So, but they really are very, very sweet. So if this animal was out in the woods and I just walked up to it, it wouldn't even be acting erratic like this. It would just be very, very sweet and just kind of investigate what I'm doing. If I go over and try to, you know, stomp on it or hit it with a stick, of course, then it's going to do everything it can to try to, you know, save itself.
So I'll tell a quick story. We were in Vermont working with the researchers on timber rattlesnakes, and we sat down to take a quick break, and one was under the rock around. It actually crawled out, and Kevin sat perfectly still, and it just crawled across his foot and kept going on its way. It couldn't care less that we were sitting there, even though the researchers were like, you gotta be careful, you gotta be careful. Kevin's like, I understand snakes, I'm okay. If Kevin had panicked or jumped or something else definitely would have been happening. But he remained perfectly calm and the snake just crawled across his foot.
So one thing you can note is actually when you watch snake behavior, see that long tongue flick? That animal's brain is on, he's not all terrified. So that long tongue flick means I'm investigating everything, I'm taking in all the smells and the tastes, but I'm also thinking. And when you have an animal like this that's actually thinking, you notice he's not trying to bite Timmy, he's not doing anything, he's just kind of like curious, he's a little freaked out because there's a bunch of people he doesn't recognize this table, he's put outside with all these weird smells, so it's a lot for this guy to take in, but there's still, it's not trying to bite, it's not trying to do anything, and people have such the wrong idea of these animals. They think that they're venomous to hurt us. All venom is just a modified saliva, and the proteins will just do something to disable whatever they're preying on. But cobras use their hoods and that crazy behavior to try to scare you away, so you pause and then it can run away. If a cobra were to bite you, you're not going to die anytime within that animal's experience with you. So it's not a good form of defense. The best form of defense is cryptic camouflage and a rattle to let you know that it's there. And that's all it is.
Imagine this animal in a pile of rocks and leaf litter, dried up brown leaves. You're barely going to see this animal. A lot of times when we go out in the wild, all we see is that. And it takes a while for your eyes to get trained, and you're like, okay, there's a timber right there. They rely so much on their camouflage, they don't move. Because if he moves, he's going to make noise. The leaves go crinkle, 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 and he's giving away his position.
Why didn't he move when you put the thing on?
Because it's not hurting him, and it's not disturbing him. And remember, in the wild, when you find these, they're not out in the open typically. They're wedged in places. Yeah. They want to squeeze in somewhere tight. So a fox, coyote, whatever, weasel, can't just grab him and kill him. They've got to work to pull him out and everything else. He can defend himself while he's in there. He's wedged in there, he'll fill up with air and strike out. Strike out. I know I just scared you, I'm sorry. Let's take a second to talk about venom. I hear it all the time by non-reptile people that come in here. They're walking in the venomous room and this is disgusting. These animals shouldn't be here. They shouldn't belong. They kill people. We are very soft in the United States. And here in New England, we're extremely soft. You think venomous animal is deadly. We lose about 5 people on average in the United States to venomous snake bites a year. Only one of those is from a native snake. The other 4 people are people like me and Kevin playing with stuff that doesn't even live in the United States. We have over 10,000 bites in the United States a year. And we only lose 5 people on average. Let's go to South America. Over 10,000 deaths that we know of a year. A lot of them don't get reported. They're in remote parts. Go to Africa. Over 20 to 30,000 deaths. And they don't really know what the real number could be. It could be in 100,000. Go to India. The Russell's viper alone kills over 10,000 people a year. We got it made.
Yeah.
So see this?
Think about the automobile. You jump in that every day. Massachusetts averages over 400 automobile deaths a year. A snake is not that deadly.
So this snake has 0 ill will. So we've done all sorts of experiments. We've heated the hand up. We've done a lot with this. And very few of our snakes will actually even try to bite the hand. And it's just because once they learn to trust you, and if you treat them kindly and you're sweet with them and you don't hurt them, they learn that you're just another thing in the environment that's not going to bother them, and they trust you, and you get to kind of see they're really gentle. This animal right now is actually really enjoying some of the weird smells. I was watching on the tablecloth, this long tongue flicks and just picking up all those weird smells.
But I have a question.
Sure.
What if they turn their back on you? Like, you know,
If they swing around,
yeah.
so that's what he's doing. So what we do is we
We
control.
use our tools.
We control the first third of the body. He's using the tail as an anchor point, and if the animal were to try to turn, kind of using that hook just to make sure that he doesn't have the ability to swing around. And that animal would have to be really kind of getting kind of crazy for actually to get enough momentum to get to his hand. So we kind of use, a lot of times we use their weight against them, like when he's lifting it up, as he'll do this right there. And they're very used to this. So this is something that's done hundreds of times when we're handling them. And you just take it slow. And you definitely use your tools. There's no free handling. There's no stupid taking chances. Because mistakes happen no matter how good you are.
So one thing also, we try to keep it low-key with the animals. If you watch a lot of YouTubers, it's all about excitement. Look how dangerous it's in. Look, it tried to kill me. But they also are not using these. They'll use grab tongs. If we go in, you notice we go in nice and easy and slow. We're introducing ourselves to the animal. Hey, we're not going to hurt you. You go in with a pair of grab tongs. If you grab that animal is in instant attack mode. Something's predating on me and is going to kill me. I need to defend myself. That's not the height we want. Yes, you have a question. We're actually going to show you a big Diamondback route.
Do I have it?
Oh, not right this second, but yes. Yes, they do. They're a constrictor.
I have lots of anacondas. Love anacondas, and they're very sweet. All right, guys, this is going to be pretty easy, I bet. Who can tell me? Bam! You guys just knew it. Okay. So if it wasn't a Gila monster, what's the next one? Very good. I love you. You're watching all of your shows.
Just over a year, 14 months.
Oh, I like the color of that one.
Kind of like him and me. Drastic.
This is a big male right here.
which is not fully grown.
I think I stopped growing too.
So anybody, can you guys tell me why are these lizards in the Venomous show? Little man. Wait, I want my answers. You already had the other answers. Come on. Tell me, how is this guy and this lizard kind of like a rattlesnake?
Because they have venom.
Very good. Bam. And this is a venomous show. So these are the only two venomous species of lizards. And that's awesome. You're learning so much stuff. Very, very good. All right, what's your question?
So if you got baited by the beaded lizard, what is your monster?
That's a really good question. So, which one would actually hurt more? I don't have the answer for you, and I've never been bitten by a Gila monster or a beaded lizard, and we're going to keep it that way. But so what happens is this isn't generally going to kill you. What it's going to do is it's going to hurt, and what it's going to do is if you get bit, it's going to chew on you, and it's going to work its venom in there, and then it's going to burn, and it's going to hurt, and your hand's going to ache. And probably for the next 24 hours of my life, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. And what that's going to do is cause you, the next time you see one of these, you're going to leave it alone. That's the theory. But generally, they don't want to bite you. These guys are actually really, really sweet.
Yeah.
Very, very sweet.
In the wild, they're like little chihuahuas. They're very dramatic, mouth open, gaping, hissing, turning sideways. But these guys are very tolerant.
Oh, wow.
Johnny, they're live streaming right there. So.
I have a question.
What's up, buddy?
Why are they not biting?
Because they're very socialized. They're used to interaction. So
What's socialization, Johnny?
basically domestication of an exotic animal.
Kinda. It's actually, you know what it is? Socialization, just like your cat and dog that you guys keep at your house. The cat and dog learn, hey, you're my friend, I can trust you. Same thing. These guys are not stupid. And they learn that they can trust you. And so when we take them out and we handle them with respect and we're sweet and kind to them, there's no biting. She's actually enjoying this whole experience. A lot of tongue flicking. It's great. You're going to pull out a small one?
Yeah. We can talk about it today.
So Braden, what else can you tell us about beaded lizards?
So this guy was actually born here roughly about a year ago. It's the first time we've ever produced them. As well as the socialization, we work with them from when they're young. When they are young, they eat lots of different insects as well as rodents. They also lay eggs. Out in the wild, they'll raid bird nests, different things they can find. Little sneak.
They're nest raiders. They'll eat carrion. They'll raid like animals that are sleeping in their burrows. They are not very agile at all. These guys are very clumsy. Difference between this species, these guys love to go underneath the ground and don't like to climb as much as the beaded lizards. Beaded lizards love to be semi-arboreal and also love water. They absolutely love water.
There's another thing that's happening is they're studying Gila monsters and beaded lizards for the fact that they can go very long periods of time with no food and suddenly go through a period of eating a lot of food, and actually how they can do that with with diabetes, and they're trying to understand things like that. But also their venom. There's in their venom, there is something that if I were to get bit by this, it creates this mental clarity, and it causes very, very clear, I remember this really bad experience, how much it hurt. They do it with jellyfish too, so there's something in there that we're now looking as ways to improve our memory. So there's all sorts of interesting aspects you would never think that a lizard like this would actually offer us.
So they're looking at using that peptide for Alzheimer's and dementia treatment. Right now, it's only being used in research.
What's your question, buddy?
Don't they only climb, to go for a vantage point, to look down for prey, and don't they store fat in their tail?
They definitely store fat in their tail, but I don't think they're much for climbing. They would go up into a tree or a cactus or whatever to get their food, but they're kind of cumbersome and clumsy. I'm not saying they won't climb, but there's many other reptiles, a lot of snakes that will definitely go up high, like check your vantage point, and then look down over potential prey. What's your question?
What happened to his finger?
That's a good question. You should talk to his friends. It might have actually, a long time ago, got broken.
You had a question?
Kevin, where are their venom?
He's talking about vantage points.
All down here, their venom glands.
Do they have fangs like a rattlesnake?
No, they don't. They actually have a very, very strong bite. And what if they were to bite you out of fear? They're going to bite, and they're not going to let go, and they're going to start chewing. And as they start chewing, they start releasing their venom, and they kind of work it into your wound. A rattlesnake, like many things like copperheads and cobras and whatnot, have a pressurized venom delivery. So if they were to ever bite you, it's kind of like a syringe. As soon as that fang sinks into flesh, it's going to actually push a bunch of venom out of its venom glands into your tissue, and it's not going to be good. There's also something called a dry bite. So let's say a rattlesnake was sitting in the woods and I happened to stumble on it and I stepped on it. That rattlesnake could do a very defensive strike. It could bite me but put no venom out, and that's called a dry bite. And loosely, there's like statistics saying that half of these bites are all dry bites. So they actually have the ability to decide whether they're going to inject venom or not.
Also, another fun fact: these guys live quite a while. They like how old? Like I think the one guy.
Oh, I bet.
64 years
Yeah, I
old.
bet these guys could probably easily live 80 years.
And another fun fact: these bumps on their skin are actually their skull, and they're called osteoderms.
It's all part of their armor. Very, very armored. These guys have all like this plating, like you might imagine, like a dinosaur would have. But look how sweet that is. Isn't that just wonderful? Great little brains. They recognize you. They know you by sight. They know you by smell, behavior, and they're remembering that. And people just have a hard time thinking like a cold-blooded animal can actually have a brain. It can actually change its behavior. But think about one thing. There is nothing in nature that said, let me sit here and rub this guy, because no other creature is going to do that to him. And this animal is fine with it. Because the animal, when they first hatch, they're terrified and they want to bite. But once we start showing them that we're friendly, we have a relationship with them, they become very, very sweet and docile, and they actually, generally, they actually crave it. They enjoy the interaction as long as you're kind to them. And people wouldn't think a cold-blooded animal can do that.
What's up?
Another quick fun fact, the two timber rattlesnakes we showed you were original wild caught. So it's not like they know captivity, they know the wild. The heel of the beaded were wild caught. This is the only captive-born animal we've showed you so far.
No, that's not true. The heel and beaded were not wild caught.
The heel was
These are all this, every single thing. You can't get these out of the wild. Okay. Yeah. No. That's no.
What's up, buddy?
Isn't osteodon like a hard armor?
Yes.
It's like it covers crocodiles.
Correct.
So how do they get
You are very much correct. So the same thing is on the top of their skull too.
Oh, we're gonna put that.
Osteoderms are external scales. Just
When
like
we
that,
have
their skulls are built like this.
And we should do like a group trip.
Under the skin.
Oh.
On top of the skin. It's
Yeah, correct.
How big can camels get?
How big can they get?
Yeah.
They're gonna get a little. He's gonna get a little bit bigger than this, so like maybe 4 or 5 more inches, and they live quite a while. What's up? Good.
I'm a Q-Cop bitten by a Gila monster in my
All right, next snake, Johnny.
in my your venom almost in my brain
Yeah, we're gonna take it out back here.
What'd she say?
And I'm gonna give out
If I was to be bit by this and it held on to me, I'm going to be in extreme amounts of pain. It's not going to kill me or hurt me unless I'm anaphylactic.
And I will lock him in a closet and tell him to stop crying, and you'll be fine.
It breaks down quite quickly. It's not meant to harm us or hurt us or anything. It's more of a defense.
It just hurts so we remember.
All right, I'm gonna ask a favor again, if all the kids could back up a little bit. So we've showed you some pretty calm animals. This is a western diamondback rattlesnake. You'll find them all through the Midwest and South. They are a lot more high-strung than a timber rattlesnake. This is a timber rattlesnake on a lot of steroids. this animal's probably going to be a handful. But again, it shows you how soft we are up here in New England, where we panic over copperheads and timber rattlesnakes. And these guys get big. So the biggest rattlesnake is the Eastern Diamondback. Second biggest is probably the Western, which nobody ever thinks of it as a big snake. They have found 6.5 to 7 foot specimens.
Look at this.
Oh, being very good. Thank you. This is your Western Diamondback rattlesnake. Again, timber rattlesnake has a pretty toxic venom. It's definitely enough to kill a human. This venom is a lot more toxic. This venom does massive tissue damage. Most people bitten by this are going to end up with some form of disfigurement of a body part and or amputation of a body part, whether it be finger, thumb, part of your arm, part of your foot. They still belong here. They still belong in nature. They still serve a purpose. And they're gorgeous. They're a beautiful animal. And he's actually being super good, thankfully.
Pretty calm. Yeah.
Oh, generally inside he's actually great, but they're just getting nervous. So one thing we really want to point out, so this snake has been persecuted all across North America. We kill hundreds of thousands of these animals every year for rattlesnake roundups. I don't even know exactly what the figure is, but it's atrocious. And we go into their environment where they're doing nothing. We catch them, often using things like gasoline to get them out of the cracks and crevices where they live. We bring them to this place where we show everybody these crazy animals, and then we kill them. And if you really think about it, it's incredibly barbaric. And this animal has no ill will towards us whatsoever. He's just investigating things. He doesn't want to hurt us, doesn't want to bite us, but we do horrible, horrible things to these animals, and it's really sad.
So he's not even rattling. Rattling is a defensive measure. Rattling is, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I feel threatened, I feel endangered. I'm going to sound off and try to scare this predator away. Another thing about those rattlesnake roundups Kevin was talking about, let's think about Peter in places like that are out to protect the animals, supposedly. They could care less about rattlesnake roundups. They love them. They are slaughtering rattlesnakes that are dangerous. They're not just slaughtering those rattlesnakes. Some of those rattlesnakes are caught the fall before and then that spring and held in captivity for months in terrible conditions. And the day usually before the roundup, they'll stick tubes down these animals' throats and bloat these animals with water and food as much as they can, because there's contests for the heaviest snake. So you want your snake to weigh more than anybody else's, and also for the catcher who brings in the most amount of pounds of animals. So they torture these animals, and nobody's yelling out about that. Nobody's saying that's atrocious. Shut it down. That's animal abuse.
And the reason why they allow this is because people generally are afraid of reptiles, afraid of rattlesnakes and snakes, and they think they're gross and scary. So because they feel that way, we kind of give it the pass. Okay, well, I don't like snakes, so if you're chopping their heads off and doing all that horrible stuff, it's okay. And it's amazing when you go to these rattlesnake roundup, they tell you that they're actually doing a service to the environment, because if they didn't cull all these animals, they would overpopulate, and that is 1,000,000% non-factual. It's incorrect. Snake populations, where the rattlesnakes are, can only be supported by their prey base, so the amount of rodents that exist that feed that population of snakes. If the rodent population is less, there's less snakes. If there's more snakes than rodents, over time all those snakes are going to starve to death and they're going to die off. So they're just filling you with convenient facts to make it seem like they're good, when in fact they're about as barbaric as you get. What is your question?
When do they lay eggs?
When do they lay eggs? So this has live babies, but things like cobras and certainly plenty of other venomous animals can lay eggs, and that's only when you breed them. Breeding snakes is not easy. and you have to go through a lot of things to actually manage their temperatures, light cycles, and times of year, and then you put them together, and then they breed, and if you're lucky, you get eggs. We tried to breed king cobras this year. Our 2 females, which are now 5 years old, this is their first year being reproductive, and both females were bred, and both clutches of eggs were bad. I don't know if it's because I did something wrong, or it's just because it's their first clutch. A lot of times, females first times, they'll lay infertile eggs the first time, and then the following year you get good eggs.
So fun fact, down in the south, that's what they call these buzztails, because they have a rattle. The other thing they call them is coontails, because their tail looks just like a raccoon with the black and white banding. Any other questions? Go ahead.
So what rattlesnake venom would be the most potent?
Probably some of the South American species.
Neotropicals.
Yeah, they have hemotoxic and neurotoxic venom. So it's like getting bit by a rattlesnake and a cobra at the same time.
Canebrakes are really tough. Mojaves are really tough. And some snakes, the size of the snake and actually how much venom. So even if the venom is not incredibly toxic, a huge volume of venom can cause an incredible amount of tissue death, red blood cell death, and not because it's the most toxic, it's because it's the most venom.
Or do some snakes lay eggs or have live?
Yep, so some are live, like, so boa constrictors, all the boas are live bearing, so they gestate, so they keep their kind of primitive egg inside until they're born inside, and then they have live birth, whereas pythons will have lay eggs, and it's just way, how they evolved.
Any other questions? We should talk about the fangs real quick too. Your rattlesnakes and all your pit vipers have a really modified fang that is hooked and will hook up into the jaw, and when they strike out, they come down and stab into you. And they're bigger fangs. Your cobras or all your arachnids have very small fixed fangs that just sit like this and just poke down. A guy like this has got some decent sized fangs. They're probably a little over 1/4 of an inch or more. All right.
Just asking.
I'm about to go down now. That's a big bar.
That side is not large. There's no hook in that one. All right. Thank you, Braden.
How long do you
That's a good booming viper. It's a pillow thing?
So this is everything that's coming out for the people that are watching on YouTube. Sorry, we're not replying to any of your comments. I can't do both at once, but that's everything that's coming out.
Quite a bit.
Everybody thinks there's water moccasins in New England. Everybody thinks that the common milk snake is either a rattlesnake or a copperhead. We want to show you what a copperhead really is. There is no copperheads in New Hampshire. There are some in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. You would be hard pressed to ever find one.
You guys like my gloves? These are special gloves so you can handle, not that she would do anything because she's a doll, but that's a copperhead, a real
That is
copperhead.
a hopefully very pregnant copperhead.
Copperheads are very shy, incredibly cryptic. They're largely nocturnal. You know what that means when I say nocturnal?
Yes.
What's it mean?
It means
You can answer.
it means mostly active at night.
You guys your parents are doing a great job with you guys. I loved some of your answers. So anyway, so yes, they come out at night. Generally, they'll be during the day. They'll often bask and whatnot, but they're not probably actively hunting. But at nighttime, they come to life. But very, very sweet animal. And this is a milk snake.
Eastern milk snake.
Yep. So this is a milk snake that's native around here, and also many of the places where these copperheads live. And this milk snake likes to eat rodents and other snakes, including baby copperheads. That milk snake will eat baby copperheads like nobody's business.
And this guy's in shed right now. They do have a bit of a brownish copper color, so you can confuse them. But as you can see, the body style is completely different. The head is different. But yet people persecute these. I've had dog officers bring us these in barrels. That I caught a copperhead. No, you didn't.
So there's a little story. So right over there is the storage place. So several years ago, there was a snake over there, and it's rattling its tail and going crazy, and it caused a crowd of people. Oh my God, there's a crazy, venomous, scary snake. And the animal control officer came over there, and people were like blaming me, saying I lost one of my scary snakes. And he goes over and he sees it's a milk snake. So when milk snakes get scared, they rattle their tail, like a lot of things like black racers. And that's them trying to mimic something scary and try to scare you off. Because the reality is they're very afraid of us, and they'll do anything to try to get you to leave them alone.
We got all kinds of questions.
Okay, what's your question?
So don't like when a creature's trying to mimic, like when a snake's trying to mimic another, like a rattlesnake, like when they like make a rattling sound, they rub it against the ground.
You're right on the money. They rattle their tail in the leaves or around whatever, and because they don't have a rattle, the loose, segments on a rattle that make the noise, so they're going to try to hit things with their tail and actually imitate a rattlesnake.
And every snake here in New England does that. They're all mimics. They've learned, hey, the rattlesnake through evolution works great. So if I can make a buzzing noise with my tail, everything's going to leave me alone.
That's gonna be a cool.
What's your question?
That's
How
gonna be
long does
cool.
it take for snake egg to hatch?
Okay, snake eggs to hatch. Well, let's say if we're talking about a milk snake, that's going to take about 55 days, around 84 degrees. Some snakes, let's say like reticulated pythons and mangrove snakes, can take anywhere from 90 to 110 days.
That's like 3 months.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Retex, very, very average 3 months incubation.
Even such a milk snake is.
And the eastern milk snake gets big. They can get over 3 feet. They look impressive. Very hard to find a big one now in the wild because everybody that finds one, oh, there's a copperhead in my yard, and they kill it. And they love rock walls. You find an old rock wall when you're out in the woods hiking, stop and look around.
It is cute.
You'll find them in the rock walls. They love rock walls.
She does look a little thick.
She's probably pregnant. Call it gravid, but yeah.
She's thick with 2 C's, Kendall.
And how many babies will we get out of her, Kevin?
I say 14.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think this is all going to be venomous stuff. But
So the pattern on it kind of looks like Hershey Kisses. Are there like other ones that look similar, or is that like
On the side?
Yeah,
There are so many snake patterns that you can probably, almost anything you can imagine. Snakes are just, there's so many weird colors and patterns.
She's like, I'm ready to win.
She's a doll. I mean, she is so sweet and friendly.
I know, you're being very patient. We have one more question.
you had a question
over
right
here.
here, Kevin.
Sure.
What's the powerful snake ever?
What's the most powerful snake ever? So, well, probably size matters, and the longest snakes in the world are reticulated pythons. So that probably means it's somewhere between reticulated python and a green anaconda as far as constricting power. And I can't even imagine how big that was. But I will tell you, all the big reticulated pythons and all the big anacondas are all vanishing because people kill them when they find them because we're afraid of them. And so the days of monsters are vanishing on us, sadly.
Milky.
Okay.
Go to something non-American.
Bushmaster.
What's your question? Go ahead, you can ask.
Question is that, can the snake go up to 32 feet long? Because I saw in a video.
Okay, so that's reticulated python. So probably, realistically, what would be the longest retic that I could probably believe was accurately true? That probably between 26 to 28 foot. I don't believe the 32 foot one. But now that there's so many people in the world, a big giant snake can't hide because people are going into all their environments. And if a big snake is crossing a road, people see it.
Like the video where there's like 2 people in the car.
Don't believe a lot of some of that stuff we're just doing. They're doing videos to just kind of excite you and make you think that. But I have a reticulated python that's over 22 foot, and she's pretty big.
Where is it?
It's upstairs. We do tours. Have you ever been on a tour?
No.
Oh, you guys are missing.
Tour like a twice. I've been on tour.
You been on a tour? Good.
I'm not trying to stand right in front of you guys.
So, again, we talk about America, we talk about snake bites in the U.S. and how people are so afraid of venomous. Let's go talk about some South American species that are potentially kill a lot of people. First one would be the fer-de-lance. Fer-de-lance is the #1 venomous killer in South America. Well over 10,000 deaths just from that one snake species. Number 2 is probably these guys here, Bushmaster.
I didn't know that they kill that many people. I sleep under rocks, so I'm not aware of all these statistics. But like a fer-de-lance, so a fer-de-lance is biting people. It's not because a fer-de-lance is chasing after people. It's because we're invading the places that they live, and they are largely ambush hunters, which means they sit there and they wait for a rodent to come along. And instead, it turns out to be one of us walking along a path. We step on him. He bites them because he's scared and envenomates them.
Most bites are to the feet. In most of Central and South America, they nickname them the land lion.
Ooh.
I need a hook. Not at the same time.
No, I'm picky. I like my certain hooks. So this is a Bushmaster. So this is kind of like a rattlesnake in a way, but it lays eggs. And this is just a giant species. Down in South America, these guys get really big, and they're actually rather rare. Hold on, let me just.
They come in a couple of different colors, so that's one of the darker ones. This one here is one of the lighter phases. And these guys will get huge. They can get upwards of 12 feet.
Dang. So what's really interesting about these guys, their skin, their scalation is almost kind of like the Gila monsters or the beaded lizards. They have very, very keeled, rugged skin, which is pretty interesting. As I'm actually holding him, the top of his back is almost like a file. But very, very sweet snake. Long tongue flicks, just busy thinking. And remember, this animal is worried. What are we doing? You know, so that's why when he first came out, he was a little nervous, a little, you know, just a little much of a handful, I would say. And you got to give him a chance to settle in and to actually think and decide that it's okay.
And talking about the scales, I don't know if you can see on mine or Kevin's, the tip of the tail, it's super pointed and it's hard. It's almost like a tooth. So if this animal gets predated on, it'll actually stab you with the back of its tail so that you think you've been bit. You're now going to focus on its tail.
I'm gonna set my camera
so it
right
can
there.
keep its head safe and bite if it has to.
It's recording.
And they're very sweet animals. Unfortunately, they get big and they hide in the bushes and in the leaf litter and they get stepped on a lot. We do have a fer-de-lance. I was going to bring that out to show you that also. It's hot out today. The fer-de-lance was not cooperating at all, which will show you the difference between these guys and a fer-de-lance. And again, rattlesnake. Big timber rattlesnake's only going to be a little under 4 feet. Everyone in New England wants them dead. Imagine if you have had these roaming through your backyard at 8, 9, 10, 12 feet. Even at this size.
Hello.
Such a sweet animal.
Remember I talked about the tongue? Those big, long tongue flicks? Everything's good. I'm just reading the behavior of this animal. You know, when you learn how to handle these guys, you really want to watch what the animal is communicating to you, and then you work your behavior around that. Because they're taking in information, they're thinking.
He's looking for a place to hide. You have a question up front?
So isn't that tongue called a fork tongue? And when they wiggle it out, so one side faces one way and one and the other
That's
way,
good.
so they can sense directly where the smell's coming from.
You are good. You like snakes. All right, so he's real on point. A snake's tongue is forked. So if the snake is crawling along the forest and it's doing this and it's looking, let's say, for a mouse trail. So he goes along, all of a sudden gets the smell of a mouse, and then he starts following it, and he goes back and forth to stay right where that center line is, and he can actually follow that. So what's really interesting, let's say we have a rattlesnake, like a timber rattlesnake, and if that timber rattlesnake were to actually bite a mouse, and then he bites the mouse, he envenomates the mouse, and the mouse runs away, he can actually go and follow the mouse that he bit, that mouse, not another mouse, and it can actually smell its own venom, and it has the ability to follow that down to the hole where the mouse is, and then he can catch the mouse and eat him.
If there was another bushmaster in the vicinity, could they smell the
Yeah. Okay. Well, certainly, but I guess I'll go off a little tangent. So rattlesnakes or snakes in general, have incredible sense of smell. But we have to talk about a New England timber rattlesnake. A timber rattlesnake male can sit there in the woods, and probably easily a mile away, a female's pheromone can come in and linger, and that animal, with his forked tongue, can actually try to track down that female from a long way. So we've seen during the breeding season when we do telemetry, so that's basically putting a transmitter on the snake or in the body cavity of the snake, and all of a sudden when the female becomes receptive, we have a male that's sitting here, and all of a sudden he goes in a straight line and he goes like a mile, and he ends up with her in a couple days. It's pretty amazing. I can't even imagine that.
Ha ha ha.
Could you put a female out and try to get
Oh, in theory?
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you could even put sheds of skin. I mean, there's all sorts of different things. There's ways you can even attract animals by just using like some rodent shavings. And you locate them someplace where they're safe, and you put those rodent shavings. Within a couple days, you might actually get some of your ambient snakes coming in to investigate. Oh, that smells like a mouse. So they're constantly looking around for and smelling, and seeing what they're after. If it's either breeding or if they want to eat.
Here's a question.
What's the rarest type of snake?
What's the what?
The rarest type of snake.
Oh goodness. What is the rarest kind of snake?
Yeah, no.
No, it would be a certain species of snake, and what is the rarest snake? That's a good one. I don't even know what the true rarest snake is. No. I don't even know, because in many places, actually in most places where snakes exist, snakes are all vanishing. So as we build and we develop everything, there's no place for these snakes. Then when we encounter them, we kill them. But there are certain snakes that are actually vanishing, like, okay, green snakes. The common green snake in New Hampshire was very, very common. In Massachusetts, now you never see them because we use pesticides like crazy, and the pesticides kills so many different animals. Rarest snake, though, it's a good question. What the rarest snake in the world is, I don't know. There you go, Johnny.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. All right, Johnny.
Alright guys, I'm going to bring out one of my personal pets here. This is my false water cobra Cleo. Cleo is a rear fang venomous colubrid, and she has the ability to swell you up if she does bite you, but it's not fatal unless you are anaphylactic. I don't know if you guys remember correctly, if you guys watch Kevin's channel, I had a food response bite and my hand swelled up the size of a glove. This is the same exact one that did it. She's an absolute sweetheart, but the person who pulled her out beforehand put her in food mode, and then he didn't know how to shut her down. He grabbed her the wrong way, and then someone tried to help. They grabbed it, she spun, grabbed them, so I stuck my finger in her mouth, so she bit me instead of them more. But otherwise, she's a doll.
Wow. She looks out of like cobra.
She looks like a cobra. She's a mimic species. But what she's going to do is she won't do it because she's very accustomed to being pet and held. She won't hood no more. These guys are also called Brazilian smooth snakes. They're highly intelligent, very personable. What's up, buddy?
How fast can I run?
They can move very fast. So when these guys are in food mode, you will not be able to dodge them easily.
Because when you really open the
Yep. Yep. If I can get her to do it, she may do it, but she'll hood out right there. See how she hoods?
There you go. That's a perfect example.
But she'll do it for a brief amount of seconds. But she's an absolute sweetheart. If you guys would like to walk up and pet her, you guys can come up and pet her. She's very smooth.
Mama, pet her.
Take one of these things. Go for it.
Yeah,
I don't want to take away from the kids.
Yep.
I'll get
She's
a
very
picture.
safe. Like, she's very, very personable.
Johnny, I can grab one of these out.
Yeah, you can take one of them.
Yeah, I got bit by a baby timber.
Snakes. Actually, my favorite animal is a timber rattlesnake.
Timber rattlesnakes are very cool. They're one of my favorite species to find down in Pennsylvania. You can just pick them right up.
Are those venomous?
This is a baby version of that.
Oh my god, it's so small. Can I touch it?
Wicked pretty.
They're a very good example of an
second.
animal that can be potentially
Give me 1 sec
like,
with this one. Hold on 1 sec,
away,
okay?
And they don't want
Where's my hand?
because these are legal for people to own, but they also need to be like respected.
Where the heck is my hand?
Because
There
they
it
can
is.
Cause, like, as you saw, my hand swelled up the size of a mitt.
That was on the channel, right?
Yep. But she, otherwise, like, she is not in any.
Are you the one that had riding?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here, there you go. Now you guys can push this one. I was just trying to get the
But as you
video.
can see, she's a doll.
What about that one?
But
It's
what
the same-
happens is
the
when you
same
pull her
exact
out of
thing as
the-
this one.
The enclosure first thing, she gets in the food mode, and she goes lightning reaction. Any movement you do, she'll think it's a food item. So when she's turned on the food mode, she's lightning fast.
Johnny, how long is it going to take this little baby to get to this size?
About 3 to 4 years, they can get upwards of 8 to 9 feet, depending on the locale.
Not by the head.
They're like impressive, highly intelligent like animals. As you can see, she's very personable. She's a doll.
Does anyone else want to touch the baby that didn't get a touch? I can walk around with this one.
Actually, I love any colubrid or a lapid. Lapids, especially king cobras, are highly, highly intelligent. They're smart. They can actually tell who are the people that work with them regularly and if a person's a threat or not.
Most snakes, if you get them in like the perfect amount of sunlight and they have some black, they'll have like a
Yeah, they are squishy because she's healthy. She's fed.
What about a rattlesnake?
Rattlesnakes? Rattlesnakes are smart too.
Are they smarter or just as smart?
Most people don't interact with rattlesnakes as much, but king cobras and larger lapids are very like good at problem solving, and they'll avoid people or see people and they'll avoid them.
Okay.
Do you want to pet?
Stone is so smooth. It's like glass.
You want to come pet her? You can come pet her.
Go for it. Hello.
It's like a
Some really
dog.
cool animals coming out next to the next two that are going to come out. Are going to be very, very cool.
Your things are so. They're kind of really
I know.
Except for the.
Yeah, she's like I said, she's usually an angel. Like everyone thought, like she's a menace, but she's an angel.
What's this a menace mean?
A menace usually means like highly defensive, but if you look, she likes chin scratches. Yeah, underneath the chin you can pet.
It's like a dog.
Yep. Usually when she's like not in food mode, she's very, 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 very.
Is this one intelligent?
Yes.
So like if she saw like behind her a squirrel ran past, she'll
Yep.
try to attack.
Do you need a license to own here?
I don't know the permutation or like what the legality of owning these guys in your state is, but in Pennsylvania they're legal. Some states they're not legal.
Very, very state dependent.
Yeah.
For
It
repaying
also
venomous.
goes by county too.
Yep.
Oh wow.
But she's an absolute like I said.
She's a sweetheart.
And she's heavy.
I don't know. I'm from Pennsylvania. I just
Where are
moved
you
up
guys
here
from?
6 months ago.
Here.
Here, I'm almost positive they are legal to own here.
Oh wow.
They are okay.
So sweet.
How long was Miss
It's
Piggy
kind
when
of
she died?
heavy.
She is heavy, yes. She's
I'd
a
have
very
to ask
strong
Kevin.
snake.
I don't know. I'd have to ask Kev, but I can ask him for you.
Huh?
Are they next to venomous?
I fell in
I'm
love
gonna put her
with
back.
Miss
Anybody wants to
Piggy.
hear
Yeah.
before I put her back? What's up, buddy? I don't know that answer either. That'd be a
How
Kevin
long
question
is-
because, like I said, I just moved up here 6 months ago to help work with Kevin. I do like online
How
social
long?
media stuff, and I also am used to my state laws in Pennsylvania. I'm allowed to own anything as long as I'm over the age of 18, as long as it's not a native species.
How
Oh,
long?
How long is she?
How long can they get?
They can get upwards of 8 feet.
Pennsylvania's
How
good.
long?
Yes, you can own them in New
Is
Hampshire.
it like 6 feet?
Yeah, she's about.
Cool.
Anybody else want to pet her before I put her back?
Please.
All right.
Do you see her tongue flex?
Move the camera real quick.
That means she's.
Excuse me. Oh,
Yep.
excuse me. That's all right.
Fattest type of snake? That would have to be a gaboon viper, and you may see one of them today.
For venomous, for non-venomous, it would be a green anaconda. Ready?
All right. Let's talk venom as a defensive measure. We kind of went into it a little bit already. Venom is a terrible, terrible defensive measure. I don't care how deadly the snake is. The snake bites you. Unless you have some type of massive allergic reaction, you're not going to drop dead. And even with a massive allergic reaction, there's time. You're going to live for a little bit. That's plenty of time to kill this animal. Most venomous snake bites, if you get to the hospital and get anti-venom started within 4 to 6 hours, you're going to live. Well, I can take 15, 20 minutes and beat that snake to death with a stick. What good did venom do to save that snake's life? Nothing. Well, let's talk about what is a good defense mechanism. Spitting cobras. Over half your cobra species, almost 60% of your cobra species, have modified fangs. Instead of the venom duct being out the bottom of the fang, it's out the front of the fang. Remember that delivery system like a syringe? They squeeze their muscles and spray venom with deadly accuracy into your eyes. Within 3 to 5 minutes, it can start permanent eye damage. That's a great defensive mechanism. If I'm a coyote, fox, weasel, whatever that tries to eat that animal and it sprays venom in my eyes, I no longer want to touch that animal. I want to drag my face through the dirt and get the venom out. That is a great defensive measure. And I'm going to back everybody up another 3 feet. I want to be the only one in harm's way in this knucklehead. This snake is gorgeous. It never spits venom. That being said, that animal can change at any moment's notice. Animals do change, bringing them from inside where it's air conditioned, outside where there's beautiful sun. So let's see how well this animal behaves. This animal looks like an Oreo cookie. This animal is amazing. One thing about all our cobras, we treat them too nice. They never hood up. You probably won't see any hooding out of this animal. But look at that beautiful animal. It could spray venom in my eyes right now. No interest, which is what I want. That's perfect. Come on out and say hello. Look at that beautiful cobra species. That is the naturally occurring color. That is a black and white spitting cobra. This one's a little more high white than you'd find in the wild, but this is what they look like. And they are awesome. Again, not a super aggressive snake. It's very used to being handled. It's somewhat socialized. No ill will, but look how beautiful. Cobras are amazing. They are so smart. Cobras think. If you give a cobra a chance to think, this is how they act. When you see cobras hooded up acting all mindless, that's because someone's not letting that animal think. They're keeping that animal in very defensive measure. That being said, there's a few species and a few individuals. Every snake has its own personality, but like a Wrinkles cobra from Africa are very high strung. They almost always hood, almost always spray venom. All the rest of our spitting cobras, this is pretty much what you get. Beautiful, huh?
How many cobra species spit?
A lot.
There is 36, I believe, or 42 cobra species, and out of them, about 57% spray venom. So most of your cobra species, there has been reports of non-spitting species getting so excited they actually spray venom. Also, there's been a couple people that have got venom sprayed in their eyes from king cobras, which are not known to be a spitting cobra. They just get so excited and so worked up, and they squeeze their muscles so hard that they actually get venom to go airborne. Yes?
How fast can I got kind of like two questions. So how far can this cobra spit venom?
I would say 6 to 8 feet with accuracy that is unbelievable, and probably upwards of close to 12 feet. I've heard reports of 20 feet. I don't know about that. That's some big distance.
Right here, he could get me directly in my eyeballs from where he is right now. Without.
So let's put this
Without
one
a miss.
away, and let's bring out a really big spitting cobra that might be a little bit more aggressive.
Defensive. Yeah, there you go, Johnny. Aggression be target one person in the audience and be like, I want you.
So this is a very big, very heavy-bodied snake from Africa, and they're impressive and beautiful. But you also have to remember they can be somewhat dangerous to work.
Kevin, oh my God.
Oh, you're put it out. You lost the one, Kevin? Okay.
You guys just back up a little bit more. Thank you.
This is such a cool snake.
This one has one heck of a yield, though.
If the venom yield from this animal is
It's
incredible.
the super soaker of the spitters.
Again, being extremely well behaved. But this is a very powerful snake. This snake comes from Africa. They get massive. They spray a ton of venom.
That thing's strong. Like, I went up to the thing all the time.
Lives in a world where there's a lot of things that would love to kill it and eat it. So it has to have a very good defense. And this snake does. They can quite accurately spit venom in an attacker's eyes, easily 20-foot range. And it's very, very accurate. And the venom would cause temporary blindness, generally. It just cause some pain. So if, let's say, it was like a mongoose or something like that, which eat lots and lots of snakes, but it could try to spit at it, and if it gets it in the eyes of the mongoose or whatever, that would probably stop the mongoose from trying to eat this snake.
And I don't know if you can see, he's actually tied a knot around my finger. He has anchored himself because he feels unsafe and he does not want to fall. And he is squeezing my fingers.
Right here. It's all life.
Anything else you want to say about him?
So the more we interact with these animals and we treat them nicely, they stop acting like the scary snakes that might excite you guys with all the defensive, hood display and spitting. But for us, when we handle these animals are, besides being our pets, they're educational tools. And the purpose of actually having these animals is not to be cool, it's to actually teach everyone these animals are important and they deserve to be left in the wild. They deserve to have wild places, and we're just trying to teach appreciation of these animals.
So remember, when somebody tells you You like rattlesnakes? You like copperheads? That's disgusting. They're dangerous. Tell them how lucky they are. They could have this roaming around in their house. And a lot of these are found in houses in Africa.
Too well behaved.
Yeah.
That is one giant head.
That thing is strong. You can close out the bin all the time.
All right. Should we stick with Africa?
Sure. You want to do? Oh yeah. Yeah.
You do the rhino.
You guys want to get closer again? We're back to non-spitting snakes.
Well,
What's up, buddy? What's your question?
I may not even need this for the phone.
Maybe you shouldn't.
You can bring it out in there, and if it's good, I'll walk it out here.
Kevin, how big can that snake that you just had out get?
That's actually about 6 foot. But the big thing about that is it gets really, really girthy, and the size of his head has giant venom glands. So if it were to bite you and envenomate you, horrible. But it can just keep spitting and spitting and spitting lots and lots of venom. But that as that snake is right now is actually
Don't
really
lay him
big.
out in the sun. Yeah.
Put it right here. Yeah. Sure. There you go.
You want to charge him up?
Yeah. I don't even want him.
All right. So these are more African pit vipers. It is so cute.
One thing about these three are the three well-known snakes from Africa. They all have an interesting defense mechanism. The puff adder huffs and puffs. The gaboon displays a ton of air and makes this ominous hissing. And the rhino, you're going to hear, it actually barks at you, which is awesome.
All right. So I guess we're doing that one first.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Johnny. Bring it over. Not by my legs.
That's you.
There we go.
This is a gaboon viper. Massive, massive fangs. You could probably say this probably has the largest or one of the largest sets of fangs of any venomous snakes in the world. Very, very large, forward, recurved fangs. And I think they talk about records of puff adders or gaboon vipers up to 2.5-inch fangs. But he's a pretty sweet little man.
Don't let the bulky size fool you. These guys can strike upwards of 225 miles per hour. Yep.
That's all you got to say? You can't tell me any more? Tell me some more interesting facts.
What's up with
They're also
what's up with his nose?
The nose is actually, recently I've been seeing a thing that went on with a study on these guys. These guys actually mimic toads, or the toads mimic them. Originally it's thought to be like leaf litter, but the head of them looks just like a toad that's native to there.
So it's likely, I think it's likely the toad would want to mimic the animal with a great set of fangs and venom. I don't think this guy would want to try to mimic a toad or a frog.
They also give birth to live young. They have giant litters of babies. The babies are super small. Pretty good death, I would imagine, death rate of babies in the wild because so many things want to predate on them, which is why they're going to give birth to large group of babies.
It's not like him.
Do they have the little horns when they're breathing?
Yep.
So cute.
Also, these guys are used in the medical field for VEGF therapy, which helps dilate blood vessels and promote oxygen flow to low blood flow areas.
Prevent.
Any questions? Yeah, right there. What do you guys feed down there?
Generally, defrosted rodents, so rats. Generally just rats, or even some cases like quail.
They're a big snake, but they do better with small meals. And another fun fact, they're from Africa. You'd think they want tons of heat. They don't do well in a very hot environment. They want to stay cool. They're deep in the forest where they can stay cooler.
You guys see the caterpillar like crawling? So they can crawl in a straight line just by managing a set of ribs which is connected to a little belly scoot, and that's like a traction device. And they just kind of crawl along in a straight line.
Rectilinear motion.
There you go. Rectilinear motion. Tell them, Johnny.
All right. Yes, what's up, buddy?
Can a spitting cobra bite someone and inject venom?
Yes, absolutely.
Kevin, you got a question right over here.
Don't those fold in their thing?
Yep, they fold. Yeah, so recurved
Hinged
fangs.
fangs.
Yep, recurved fangs, and they can just. So when its mouth is shut, the fangs are up kind of along the roof of the mouth, and when they open, the fangs come out and pierce whatever they're trying to get.
All right, I'm gonna put her back.
All right, so that was a gaboon viper. I'm gonna take out his little smaller cousin, the rhino viper, and you're grumpy. Listen to that.
Yeah, she's just at the end of her shed cycle.
Very, very fast strike. We don't sit here and touch these guys too much. Just kind of use your tools. So you guys see those rostral scales? So these guys will bury in the leaf litter, and their camouflage is so incredible that they can just bury in the leaf litter, and it's believed that they can actually wiggle or move those little rostral scales and attract things like birds. And then the birds come along and they meet their demise when this animal actually strikes them. So there's another thing that's really interesting about these is that their skin, the physical attributes of their skin, when light, so full spectrum lighting is hitting it, it does not reflect a lot of the light that things like birds or rodents can see. And so it's evolved to become incredibly invisible to things like birds and their rodents. And that's also the birds and the rodents can't see their them, you know, hidden in the leaves. But it's all because of the physical aspects of their scalation, and it absorbs and prevents that light from being reflected, so therefore you don't see it. It's almost like a cloaking device. Hello.
All right.
Hold
We got
on.
one more cousin we're going to try to bring out, which is the puff adder. We are going to back everybody up when I bring that out. Again, we are very fortunate to live in New England. The gaboon is probably the calmest of the three. Rhinoceros viper being second. The puff adder is a whole different game.
It's probably the infrared. Yeah, it's coming out. You see my mangrove snakes, how they they react to it.
Got it. That'll work.
What's the reasoning behind these snakes holding their prey when they
Okay,
versus
so
letting go and follow?
that's a really good one. So they know the difference. So something like this, when he actually bites a bird, he'll probably hang on because the bird can like fly off and you can't really track it because it's not terrestrial. But like a rodent, it might just bite and let go because it knows that that rodent's going to be able to track. Rattlesnakes will do it too. So a rattlesnake normally, let's say like a mouse or a rat, it would bite and let go. Birds grabs and hangs on, and they know the difference. It's pretty crazy. They think a lot more than people have any, you know, we just don't, we have a hard time understanding. It's just so foreign to us. All right, the next snake we're gonna bring out is a doozy.
Kevin, you don't have a taipan, do you?
No, I don't want an inland taipan. I don't have any mambas, and I don't have any inland taipans or coastal taipans, generally because they're a big long snake, they act crazy, and they're very unreliable when you're handling them. So I need a lot of space. I need a lot of space to swing the animal around and use its weight
And they're
against
not
it.
a good educational tool.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
not a lot of education value with them. Where these, there's a ton of educational value.
What about a boom sling?
Woo! Ooh.
That was wild.
That just had a little mental fit, a little baby fit. Hold on. This one always.
No, she's still in shed. Probably can't see good.
Grumpy.
Good. Yeah. All right.
Good luck.
Hey, these shows are done at Nerd up in Plastow, New Hampshire. If you follow Zoo Creatures on Facebook, that's where they post that they do these shows to the people that are asking.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, no.
All right, it's gonna be a fun one.
All right.
I don't know. The fangs are too big. This, I trust these, but I don't trust them that much. So I don't even know, Timmy, do you really want to take that out? It's losing its mind.
We can skip it.
We'll bring out a big king cobra.
How about we just put it on the table so people can get a look through the...
That's not good. It's just going to cause the animal a lot of stress.
So again, I'm glad you live in New England and not Africa. And these get big. This is a small one. These animals get extremely big, extremely high strung, and an incredibly dangerous venom.
Yeah, we don't want to take that out.
Yeah.
This animal is cuckoo.
You should have seen me putting it in you.
We'll take out something way, way, way sweeter, and that's a king cobra. Give me a king cobra.
Alright, let's back up. Let me go over here.
This is a little female king cobra. We have bigger king cobras.
Right there, probably.
Oh, wow.
Highly intelligent snake species. Obviously, we know that these guys are the longest growing venomous snake in the world. And she doesn't like being put on smooth surfaces. Nice sweetie. She doesn't like that at all.
Why does she not like that, Kevin?
She doesn't like it because there's nothing to like hang on to.
No texture, no grip. She feels unsafe. She's afraid she'll fall.
Nice sweetie.
So pretty.
Very, very sweet, very, very smart. So you're wondering, how come it's not hooding or doing any of that? She's way beyond that. She's not even afraid of me at all. She knows I'm never going to do anything to hurt her, other than just maybe be an annoyance to her, because she wants to crawl someplace and I don't want her to. But the hooding is only just defensive and just kind of try to scare me off.
Is it true that king cobras aren't actually cobras?
All right, well, yeah, so if you want true cobras and real, and yeah, you're right about that, not true cobras.
They're not in the larger species,
Yes.
which is a true old world cobra.
He's so cute.
Really has zero ill will. And this one's small. We have bigger ones, but she doesn't have anything to worry about.
King cobras are very maternal. They're an egg layer. They build a beautiful nest, and then she will guard that nest. Big one.
What do you got, big one?
And these get big.
You have a
I
big
will
king?
show you.
What? Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna take out a bigger king cobra.
Okay.
All right.
Get closer. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, boom slangs are. I got to go play with boom slangs when I was in South Africa last year, and they're interesting, but they're kind of boring. To be
He's
dead
a
on.
little excited. She's wrapped right around the
Oh.
And this isn't full
buddy.
grown yet. It still has a lot of growing to do.
So king cobras, these guys in the wild eat all sorts of prey, including other snakes, including other king cobras, other cobras, lizards, birds, rodents, whatever. But they're very, very specialized at eating other snakes. And they so these guys don't have the most toxic venom in the world, but they have giant venom glands, and the giant venom gland allows them to inject a lot of venom, which can prove lethal. And they are neurotoxic, so that means that they're going to do is they're going to shut down your nervous system. So things like your breathing, you're not going to be able to breathe anymore. You're not going to be able to fill your lungs with air. So it's not a wonderful thing. But he doesn't do anything. He's so sweet.
Other than coloring, are there big differences between him and the Pakistani cobra?
Yeah, there's obviously, there's as far as, well, size too, because the Pakistani cobra is, like 5, 6 foot. These guys can do, well over 14 feet. You hear about like 16 foot.
Yeah.
But
I think the
definitely,
record was like 18 foot 4 inches was the world record. That's a huge snake.
yeah, these guys, it's a different species. And there's a bunch of different types of king cobras too, which all have their different patterning. This is a Malaysian king, but there's banded ones, there's Sumatran, red-throated ones. There's all sorts of cool ones. But a lot of times these guys don't do great in captivity due to the fact that they, if you get one out of the wild, they often want to just eat like other snakes, and you got to convince them to eat, things like rodents, because just feeding a strict diet of other snakes is very difficult. Where are you going to get those snakes?
Sorry, but I had to do it.
Have you bred any here?
Any what?
King cobras.
We bred them this past year, and we got 2 clutches of eggs from both our females. They had to be 5 years old, and both clutches were ended up not being viable. And I don't know if it's because I did something wrong, but I think it's more likely sometimes when you breed egg layers, sometimes their first clutches are kind of like trial and error, and then the female gets it down, and then the next clutch. So next year we'll breed them again, and hopefully next year we'll end up with 2 fertile clutches. But I did breed them.
Do you milk these snakes?
No, I never milk them. Milking snakes is traumatic for them. There's no purpose either, because I don't have any purpose of the venom. When they milk snakes, they're using that venom for, to make anti-venom, or they're using it for some scientific purposes. I have no purpose at all for venom, so I never do anything like that. And I wouldn't probably have the relationship I have with the snake if I was grabbing him behind the head and doing things like that, because I'd be scaring him and making him uncomfortable. And I generally I play with him and I pet him and stuff like that, and that's why he's so sweet. You notice that none of these snakes try to bite.
So the Kentucky Reptile Zoo is a big venom extractor. Another thing is Western Diamondbacks. We have like 4. That's not enough to get venom from. When he extracts Western Diamondbacks, in one day he'll milk 300 to 400 snakes to get the yield he needs.
Real snake experts there too, to handle that many snakes and not get bit. Because whenever you handle a venomous snake, you always have whatever that chances of ever having something go wrong. And when you're milking snakes, you don't have these snakes that just crawl through your hands. You have snakes that want to, defensively bite because they're scared.
Yeah, you can't work them delicately when you're trying to do 300 to 400 in an 8 to 10 hour day. You're processing them. You're grabbing them behind the head and milking them. Your risk chance of a bite goes up exponentially.
He's so cute.
Yes.
He's so cute. All right, put him back to me.
Ready?
So cool.
All right, so they've shown off venomous snakes, venomous lizards.
You guys can come up. I'm not gonna.
Obviously, all spiders and tarantulas are venomous. Maybe that's not so obvious, but they are. This one is the Goody Sapphire Ornamental from the Western Ghats of India. They are extremely venomous. They're what we would call medically significant. Most people are afraid of these guys. No one will handle them. I've been working with them since they were little tiny spiderlings, so my 3 females are pretty accepting of my touch. Sometimes they bolt out of fear, but once they get that initial level of nervousness out of their system, they seem to chill. One of my secrets that I'll reveal to everyone on stream is you kind of make your hand into a burrow, and you can close it around it, and they usually feel a lot better. You can see a little burst of their speed there. But once they get in there, I can usually get them to chill out, and then she'll sit there in my hand. It's like they're in a tree hollow. They're very, very calm. Poecilotheria metallica. All the species of Poecilotheria are called ornamental due to the fact of their extreme potency of venom. This guy is a South American species. This is a green bottle blue. They have a less potent venom, but they have a type of poison in their hairs that is very irritating. It's an irritant, so it can make you itch exponentially. If it gets in your eyes, it can cause temporary blindness, stuff like that. When we're talking about urticating hairs, these guys are the absolute worst. These are Taraposa blondi. This one's actually Sturmai, a different species within the genus.
Also known as
the Burgundy Goliath bird eater. And they have the worst urticating hairs of any species. They can blind you more than temporarily. They can just blind you, period.
So one thing I wanted to show with this one, the reason I grabbed this one, if you look at it in the sunlight, I don't want to leave it out for too long. Its colors are pretty insane. It's like almost a neon blue with a neon orange butt. I don't want to leave it in the sun for too long, but if you want to come and take a picture, you can. And same with this one.
Yeah, blue's a very common color within the tarantulas. Science is still trying to figure out why it's so common.
Not
How
common in
far
really
can
any other
she
animal.
jump if she's scared?
These guys are also known as parachute spiders where they come from, so they can jump pretty far and they can take a fall, where most tarantulas, these guys are terrestrial, their abdomens could detach and then they slowly die, or sometimes weirdos like me kind of save them by super gluing them back together, which seems weird, but it works. But these guys can take a pretty big fall and be able to deal with it. They're used to living in the trees. This specific species of Poecilotheria, they come from a dead forest, so everything there is really gray and barren, and I just can't even imagine what it's like to come upon a bright blue spider in a dead forest. But it's a bucket list thing for me. I'll eventually get there. But this shows you that most people discount the sentience of a spider, and they're like, oh, they're a spider, they don't know anything. And they always say they don't have brain matter. Well, they have something. Something tells them to move and walk and eat and hunt and breed. So they have some type of synapse and electrical current that is going on inside that carapace of theirs. But through socializing, I can get them very, very calm.
Would anybody else like a picture before I throw this guy back?
I'd like to thank you all for coming, and if you take one thing away from this, venomous snakes are not venomous to hurt you. They're to protect themselves and to catch food. And again, here in the United States, we're soft. We've got it made. We showed you some other species from around the world, and they're game changers. Actually, we have one we didn't even show you.
Don't try it at home.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. I got a bunch of animals to put away.
Thank you guys.
I hope you learned a little bit.
Can I show you Jeremy?
Can I do this? All right, I'm going to take you on a quick walk around the nerd store while we're live. We might as well. Do me a favor, if you haven't hit the like button, hit it. There was like 500 people watching at one point. There's only 100 likes. But walk you guys around the nerd store and show you what's in here. So, well, one thing you guys didn't get to see, these were out earlier for people to walk around and see. These are a lot of the terrestrial vipers. Arboreal terrestrial. Arboreal is what I meant, and I said terrestrial. Thank you. Absolutely beautiful snakes. There's a blue one down here, which I think I might be able to get. Beautiful. Ah, you dumb phone. There we go. Sorry about that. My phone decided to flip itself out. There's a little teeny tiny guy right there. This is, oops. all of the arachnids, tarantulas, green bottle blue right here. This is the guy that was outside. These are Amazon milk frogs. Let's see this guy right there. Somebody said, show us a dangerous snake. We've been live for 85 minutes with nothing but dangerous snakes.
And we're all still here.
Yeah, nobody lost a finger. Yet.
Never yet.
All right, what else? Go, you guys want to see some water monitors? I can show some water monitors, excuse me. Need monitors. Kevin monitors are amazing. I agree. Let's see if I can find a little water monitor somewhere in here. There's an iguana. Here's a Het T negative water monitor. I could probably take him out. No worries. All right. Let's go. I will take out a Het T negative. So this looks like a normal Asian water monitor in its normal color phase, but it's heterozygous for T negative albino. Are you nice? Check them out. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come out. So they love to be up high, as you can see. He's going to continue to climb. There we go. So as with most of Kevin's hand-raised water monitors, absolute sweetheart. It's just going to want to crawl all over me and hang out with me. These guys are all available on the New England Reptiles website, which you should be able to find a link to in any of our actual posted videos. Yes, Kevin does have some lychee geckos. I know they're working on breeding them. I don't know if there's any actively for sale right now, but I could probably get you an answer on that. Come on. The one thing with these guys is their claws will absolutely shred you up. Their claws are very sharp, so if you look at a lot of people that work with a lot of water monitors, their hands and arms will be absolutely shredded because their claws are just super gnarly. He wants to do nothing but stay on my shoulder and go on my back at the moment. We'll pretty much just hang out though. Water monitor is one of my favorite species. Do you guys have any questions while I'm here? Does anyone want to see? Why would anyone want a cold-blooded pet? Isaac T. Jacobs asked. Well, so what a lot of people, there's kind of a common misconception is that these guys don't have personalities. They don't, like hanging out with people, enjoy their owners, especially with something like these guys. They're so intelligent that they recognize their owners. They love hanging out with people. They love the socialization with people. This guy would love to hang out with me all day if I let him. Komodo dragon. Tina said, how big do they get? This guy will get very, very large. Upwards of 4 to 6 feet for females and 6 to 8 foot with the tail for males. All right, any other requests to see another animal besides an Asian water monitor? You guys got me for maybe 5 more minutes before I gotta end the live. Guys, we don't have Komodo dragons here at the shop. Spitting cobras, if you scroll back in this video, we had 2 different spitting cobras out already. Now you gotta go back in. Come on, buddy. There we go. Ow. There we go. Yeah, we go. Really cool. Green tree pythons. Let's see. Somebody said green tree pythons. How about emerald tree boas? Will that work instead of green tree pythons? Because I know where I can find those. And someone just asked about Ackie monitors. Yes, there is a yellow Ackie right there. But we could go check out some emerald tree boas. I am down to do that. Sorry, I'm a little bit sweaty. It is kind of warm in here. There is some emeralds right over here, though. We will check these guys out. And then I'm going to have to end the live, but this video will be able to watch. This video is like 90 minutes long. You guys can all watch it. It'll be on the Nerd channel. here are some emerald tree boas. There's one right there. That guy looks like he is in shed. Another one right here. Lights are off in there right now, but you can still pretty much get a good idea for their colors. You know, absolutely beautiful, beautiful animals. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's see if I can find another one. I think they might all be upstairs, and I really don't want to run upstairs. How about an anaconda? Green anaconda right there. The kookaburra, I can do that. I don't know where it went. The kookaburra was right here. They must have moved him somewhere. I'm just not aware of. Some piranhas. Red belly piranhas, and then a fly river turtle over here. Cool. All right, y'all, that is all that I have time for. This was a 91-minute live stream that's going to be available on the New England Reptiles channel. Please go actually like that video, drop a comment, let us know what you want to see next time. The next time I'm up here, we can definitely do a big live and explore the whole entire store. Thanks, guys.